You ever open your banking app on a random Tuesday afternoon and immediately regret it? You've got money coming in. You're not broke. You make decent income. But somehow, after the mortgage or rent hits, the car payment clears, the student loan auto draft goes through, and the credit card minimum gets sucked out. You're staring at $312.47 left until next payday. And it's only the 18th. So you start doing that mental math. Okay, gas is $60, groceries maybe $150, hopefully nothing breaks. And you feel this low-level stress humming in the background. Here's the weird part. You're not irresponsible. You're not reckless. You're not out buying Lambos. You're just trying to live. So why does it feel like money disappears? Why does a $75,000 income still feel tight? Why does a $100,000 income sometimes feel tight? Here's the thing. More income doesn't fix chaos. Look, if money is disorganized, a raise just makes the mess bigger. It doesn't magically create clarity. It just increases the scale of the confusion. And that's where Dave Ramsey's baby steps come in. Not as some magical formula, not as some perfect system, but as something that promises structure. And for a lot of normal people, structure is exactly what's missing. Now, before we jump into spreadsheets and yelling about debt, let me say this clearly. My name is John, and I spend way too much time thinking about personal finance and how normal people build wealth. If you're someone who feels like you're working hard but still not getting ahead financially, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's what we're doing today. We're not doing hype. We're not doing motivational yelling. And we're definitely not doing blind hero worship. I'm not here as a Ramsey fanboy. I'm not here as a Ramsey hater either. We're breaking this down for real life. Because the truth is, the baby steps have helped millions of people. But they also get criticized constantly, especially online by finance Twitter and spreadsheet warriors. So today, we're going to look at this system through two lenses: the math and the psychology. Because money isn't just numbers on a page, it's behavior, it's stress, it's habits, it's identity. And if you ignore either the math or the psychology, you miss the point. So let's break it down properly. All right, so what actually are the baby steps? At a high level, they're a 7-step sequence designed to take someone from financial chaos to wealth building. Step 1. Save $1,000 as a starter emergency fund. Step 2. Pay off all debt using the debt snowball. Step 3. Build a fully funded emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Step 4. Invest 15% of your income for retirement. Step 5. Save for your kids' college. Step 6. Pay off your house early. Step 7. Build wealth and give. That's it. No complicated branching paths. No it depends spreadsheets, just one step at a time. And here's the thing. That simplicity is intentional. According to Federal Reserve data, the average American carries roughly $6,000 in credit card debt. Millions are juggling multiple balances, car loans, student loans, personal loans. It's not just a math problem. It's mental clutter. Ramsey's system is built around focus, not optimization. Focus. Here's what most people don't realize. Clarity beats optimization when behavior is the bottleneck. You can argue that mathematically, there are slightly better ways to structure debt payoff or investing, and you might be right. But if someone is financially overwhelmed, the problem isn't that they picked a strategy that's 1.3% less efficient. The problem is they don't know what to do first. Think of it like driving without GPS. You might eventually reach your destination by taking random turns, but you'll waste time, gas, and probably your sanity. The baby steps are basically financial GPS. Now, is the system perfect? No. Is it flexible? Not really. Is it effective for a lot of people? Often, yes. And that tension between mathematical optimization and behavioral simplicity is where this whole conversation gets interesting. Let's start with baby step 1. Save $1,000 as a starter emergency fund. And immediately, people roll their eyes. Only $1,000? That barely covers anything. And mathematically, they're not wrong. An emergency room visit can blow past that. A major car repair can wipe it out. So why only $1,000? Because this step isn't about safety. It's about momentum. Here's what most people don't realize. The first win matters more psychologically than the perfect number. According to bank rate surveys, A large percentage of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency without going into debt. That means for millions of households, even a small buffer changes everything. Let's run a simple example. Your car breaks down. It's an $800 repair. Without savings, that goes on a credit card at 22% interest. If you only make minimum payments, that $800 can quietly turn into $1,000 plus over time. With a $1,000 emergency fund, it's annoying, but it's contained. No interest, no spiral. Now, you might be thinking, wouldn't it be smarter to save $5,000 first? Look, in theory, yes, but here's the behavioral problem. If the first milestone feels huge, people stall out. They procrastinate. They overthink. $1,000 is small enough to feel achievable. Achievable creates action. Action creates momentum. Momentum keeps people moving. And for someone who's never had savings before, that first comma in their account changes how they see themselves. That shift matters more than most spreadsheets will ever admit. All right. Baby step 2 is where things get controversial. The debt snowball. This is where you list your debts from smallest to largest, regardless of interest rate, and attack the smallest balance first while making minimum payments on the rest. Now compare that to the debt avalanche. Avalanche says, pay off the highest interest rate first. Pure math, pure efficiency. Let's use a clean example. You have $3,000 credit card at 22%, $8,000 car loan at 6%, $15,000 student loan at 5%, total debt, $26,000. The avalanche method says, attack the 22% credit card first. That's mathematically optimal. You save the most interest over time. The snowball method also starts with the $3,000 card in this case, because it's the smallest. But imagine the interest rates were flipped. Imagine the $8,000 loan was 22% and the $3,000 was 5%. Avalanche would attack the $8,000 first. Snowball would still kill the $3,000 first. Over a couple of years, the avalanche might save you a few $100s in interest. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on balances and rates. So yes, avalanche usually saves more money. Now you might be thinking, why would anyone intentionally choose the less efficient option? Here's what most people don't realize. Personal finance is about 80% behavior and 20% math. When you pay off that $3,000 debt completely, something happens. You get a win. Your brain releases dopamine. Progress feels real. The list gets shorter. You free up that monthly payment and roll it into the next debt. The momentum builds. It's a progress loop. Humans are wired to continue behaviors that produce visible progress. That's why fitness apps show streaks. That's why video games level you up constantly. That's why checking boxes feels good. The snowball method weaponizes that psychology. Ramsey's argument is simple. If you were perfectly rational and disciplined, you wouldn't have high interest debt in the first place. So the solution shouldn't assume perfect discipline. He prioritizes behavior over optimization because consistency beats theoretical efficiency. Look, if someone is hyper-analytical, extremely disciplined, and already tracking every dollar, avalanche might be fine, probably better. But for someone overwhelmed, stressed, juggling bills, and doubting themselves, quick wins matter. Because quitting costs more than a few $100s in interest. And that's the real trade-off here. Mathematically optimal versus psychologically sustainable. And for a lot of normal people, sustainable wins. Baby step 3 is where the tone shifts. Up until now, you've been in attack mode, scraping together $1,000, knocking out debt, living tight, focused. Now, you build a fully funded emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Why now? Because once the consumer debt is gone, you're finally in a position to build real stability instead of just plugging holes. Let's put numbers on it. If your household expenses are $4,000 per month, mortgage or rent, utilities, food, insurance, gas, everything, then 3 to 6 months means you're aiming for $12,000 to $24,000 in cash. That's not pocket change. And here's why it matters. The median unemployment duration in the U.S. often hovers around 8 to 10 weeks during normal times. And it can spike much higher during recessions. That means if you lose your job, you're not immediately in panic mode. This is where it gets really interesting. Because psychologically, this is the shift from survival to stability. Before this step, one unexpected expense feels like a threat. A job rumor at work creates anxiety. A slowdown in business keeps you up at night. After this step, you breathe differently. You don't flinch at every news headline. You don't panic at a broken appliance. You make decisions from calm instead of fear. I call this the calm money phase, and calm money makes smarter decisions than stressed money ever will. Now we move into baby steps 4 through 6. And this is where wealth building really begins. Step 4 is simple. Invest 15% of your income for retirement. Let's use clean numbers. If you make $80,000 per year, 15% is $12,000 annually. That's $1,000 per month going into retirement accounts, 401k, Roth's IRA, whatever fits your situation. Now let's assume an average long-term return of 8% annually. Not a guaranteed number, just a reasonable historical estimate for diversified stock investing over long periods. If you invest $12,000 per year for 30 years at 8%, you're looking at roughly $1.36 million. That's the power of consistency. Notice what Ramsey's system does here. Once the chaos is gone, you automate investing. No fancy day trading, no chasing trends, just steady contribution. Step 5 is saving for kids' college if you have children. Not at the expense of retirement. Retirement comes first, because your kids can borrow for college. You cannot borrow for retirement. And then step 6, pay off your house early. Now this is where the internet explodes. Shouldn't we invest instead of paying off a 3% mortgage? Fair question. Let's run quick math. If your mortgage is 3% and the market returns 8%, in theory, you earn a 5% spread by investing instead of paying extra toward the house. Over decades, that spread compounds significantly. Pure math says invest. But here's the other side. A paid-off house eliminates your largest monthly expense. If your mortgage is $2,000 per month, that's $24,000 per year in required income that disappears once it's gone. That lowers your risk. It lowers your stress. It reduces the amount you need invested to feel secure. And here's what most people don't realize. Risk tolerance isn't just numbers. It's emotional. Some people sleep perfectly fine carrying a low-rate mortgage while investing aggressively. Others feel a psychological weight from any debt at all. Ramsey leans heavily toward debt freedom because it simplifies life and removes leverage risk entirely. A balanced perspective? If you're disciplined, stable in your career, and comfortable with market volatility, investing while keeping a low-rate mortgage can mathematically outperform. If you value certainty, reduced monthly obligations, and emotional peace, paying off the house can be incredibly powerful. This is where finance becomes personal, because wealth isn't just about maximizing returns. It's about building a structure that lets you sleep at night and stay consistent for decades. Baby step 7 is where the system stops being about survival and starts being about design. Build wealth and give. Now here's something interesting. Studies like the Millionaire Next Door and Ramsey's own survey of over 10,000 millionaires show a consistent pattern. Most millionaires are not flashy. They're not driving brand new luxury cars every 2 years. They're not flexing on Instagram. A huge percentage of them live in paid-off homes. That's not accidental. When your house is paid off, your required monthly income drops dramatically. That creates margin, and margin creates options. You can invest more aggressively. You can switch careers. You can start a business. You can work part-time. You can give generously. This is where it gets really interesting. Wealth at this stage isn't about showing off. It's about control. It's about waking up and knowing your life isn't dictated by a payment schedule. And psychologically, that's powerful, because real wealth isn't flexing. It's having margin. Margin in your time, margin in your money, margin in your decisions. And that's the end goal of the baby steps. Not just being rich, but being free. Now let's be honest. The baby steps are not immune to criticism. First, the $1,000 emergency fund. In today's economy, that number feels small. Rent alone can be more than that. Critics argue it leaves people exposed, especially in high-cost areas. And that's a fair concern. Second, Ramsey's stance on credit scores. He famously says, you don't need one. In reality, most people live in a system where credit impacts mortgages, insurance rates, even job screenings. Ignoring that system entirely may not be practical for everyone. Third, the strict no investing until all debt is gone approach. Mathematically, if you have low-interest debt, say 3% or 4%, and access to employer 401k matching, skipping investing can mean leaving free money on the table. That opportunity cost is real. Then there's the optimization gap for high earners. If someone makes $250,000 per year, has stable employment, and strong financial discipline, The rigid one-step-at-a-time structure may feel unnecessarily slow. They might benefit from a more nuanced strategy. So when are the baby steps not ideal? If you're financially sophisticated, extremely disciplined, comfortable with leverage, and actively optimizing taxes and investments, you may outgrow this framework. But here's who it works best for: people overwhelmed, people stressed, people stuck in cycles of debt, people who need structure more than spreadsheets. And that's not a small group. So why does this system actually work for so many people? It's not magic, it's psychology. First, decision fatigue. The average adult makes thousands of decisions per day, when every financial move feels like a debate. Should I invest or pay debt? Save more or pay extra? Avalanche or snowball? Your brain burns energy, and when energy drops, discipline drops. The baby steps remove the debate. There's only one question: what step am I on? That reduction in cognitive load matters more than people think. Second, momentum stacking. You complete step 1, win. You complete step 2, bigger win. You build step 3, stability. Then investing becomes automatic. Each step reinforces identity. I'm someone who handles money well. Behavioral finance research consistently shows that identity-based habits stick longer than purely logical ones. Here's what most people don't realize. Complexity kills consistency. And consistency is what builds wealth. Think about fitness. The perfect workout plan on paper doesn't matter if you quit after 3 weeks. A simple, repeatable routine done for 10 years beats a hyper-optimized plan you abandon. Finance works the same way. Simplicity to consistency to wealth. Ramsey's system isn't designed to win academic debates. It's designed to keep normal people moving forward long enough for compounding to actually do its job. All right, let's make this practical. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, this makes sense, but where do I start? Here's your action plan. Step 1, write down every single debt, not in your head, not roughly, on paper. List the balance and the minimum payment. Clarity removes anxiety. Step 2, build the $1,000 buffer as fast as possible. Sell something. Pause investing temporarily if you need to. Cut expenses for a few weeks. The goal is speed, not perfection. Step 3, automate the attack on your smallest debt. Set up an automatic extra payment the day after your paycheck hits. Don't rely on willpower. Systems beat motivation. Step 4, track progress weekly, not monthly. Weekly. Momentum fades when you don't see movement. And look, don't wait until you feel ready. No one ever feels ready. I've seen this happen over and over. Someone pays off a $2,500 credit card, then a $4,000 balance. Suddenly they're down $6,500. Confidence builds. Behavior changes. Income grows. Investing starts. Small wins compound into identity shifts, and identity shifts change everything. At the end of the day, this isn't really about Dave Ramsey. It's about chaos versus clarity. Chaos is checking your bank account with anxiety. Chaos is juggling payments and hoping nothing breaks. Chaos is making financial decisions from stress instead of strategy. Clarity is different. Clarity is knowing exactly what step you're on. Clarity is having a plan for your next dollar. Clarity is removing uncertainty one layer at a time. And here's the truth. Financial freedom doesn't usually come from one big breakthrough. It comes from structured, boring, consistent decisions made over years. Long-term thinking beats short-term optimization almost every time. So here's my challenge to you. Choose structure. You don't have to follow the baby steps perfectly, but pick a system. Commit to it. Stop bouncing between strategies every 6 months. If this helped you, drop a comment and tell me which baby step you're on right now. I read those, and they help shape future videos. And if you want more breakdowns that mix real math with real psychology, hit subscribe, because clarity changes everything. And before we wrap up, quick but important note, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. Your situation is unique, your numbers are unique, and you should always consider speaking with a qualified financial professional before making major financial decisions. Now, let's build wisely.